The Goblin and the Stolen Ring. Copyright Juliet Boyd, 2018. There is a place beyond where your eyesight can normally reach, called the Forest of the Hooting Owl. You will never find it, unless you are taken there, because it is hidden by magic. It might be just across the other side of your road, or next to the park, or it might be in both those places at once. Who knows when magic is involved? Within this wondrous place, and within this tale, there exist many strange plants and creatures. You can, if you wish, find out more about some of them at the back of this book. But our focus is on one creature in particular. His name is Sprout, and he is a goblin. Young of age and free of spirit, Sprout has, as you might expect, many adventures. In truth, he isn't that keen on big landers. Well, we are a lot bigger than him, which has to be scary. But that doesn't stop him crossing the border. Yes, he can see our world, and I know that's not fair, but what thing ever is? The good news is, you can learn all about that place right here. Anyway, time to get on with the story. Sprout's hiding just over the page. Yes, there. And it seems that he might be in a bit of a scrape right about now. Boxing clever. The day was hotter than it deserved to be, given that it was the middle of autumn. It made Sprout's current situation an extra level of uncomfortable, a horrible, clammy uncomfortable, where sweat dripped slowly down your spine to leave murky puddles in the bottom of a cardboard box. If a cardboard box was where you'd put yourself, which was exactly what Sprout had done. It was the only suitable box they'd found, and that had taken them long enough. Bins, he'd discovered, weren't nice places to search. The box was a cramped space, even for a half-grown goblin, or hobgoblin, to be precise, which he was. As a species, goblins had dropped the hob a long time ago. The reason for this was personal safety. Hobgoblin, so Sprout's ma said, gave the impression they were supposed to be cooked. That was not an impression you wanted to give to anyone, forest dwellers or otherwise. Sprout wasn't entirely sure why being called a hobgoblin would do that. However, being inside the box, he did feel as if he were being cooked. He was being steamed in his own sweat. The day was so horrendously humid, even the breathing holes they'd made in the sides, using a specially sharpened stick, didn't help to cool him down. In the back of Sprout's mind, the place that held all the bad thoughts that usually popped to the front at inconvenient moments, Sprout wondered if you could drown in sweat. He told himself that wasn't possible. It was easier to lie when it was to yourself. The heat wasn't the only issue. The position of his limbs was similar to those of a chicken about to be roasted. He was bent double, with his feet as close to his head as they would naturally go. It was not natural, but it had been the only way he was able to fit. Goblins were not square, even when they'd eaten too much. Their strong, muscled chests made their bodies a triangular shape. Their heads were circular, obviously, with almost wing-like ears. Their arms and legs were spindly and long, so not square to even the stretchiest of imaginations. It hadn't been Sprout's idea to put himself in this position. Getting into the house had been. This specific method was his Uncle Longtooth's idea. "You'll be disguised," he'd said. "No one will guess that you're hidden in a box coming through the posting. Goblins don't do that kind of thing. Why would they? It will be eating a portion of stew with a big spoon easy. You can't get easier than that, can you?" Sprout had cocked his head as he considered the suggestion. Big spoons were definitely easier to eat with. he had to admit, but that wasn't the whole of the situation. "You're forgetting something," he said. "She has the dagger, the one that detects goblins. We know that. That's why I couldn't get in before. How's a cardboard box going to fool that? You can't trick a piece of metal." The dagger in question was an ancient artifact of unknown origin. It had been the bane of Sprout's life since the pesky biglander who owned it had stolen Ma's ring. Where she'd obtained the dagger, or how she'd found the forest of the Hooting Owl in the first place, were both mysteries he hadn't yet solved. Once he'd retrieved the ring, obtaining those pieces of information was high on his list of priorities. He hadn't told Longtooth that yet. Uncles could only cope with one adventure at a time. He had proved this on several occasions. Longtooth got confused if he had too many things to think about. He liked to plan. He took notes and everything in leaf books, written with red ant ink. He had shelves upon shelves of notes. He hardly had any room to live. Longtooth waved his hand dismissively. "That dagger is for goblins she knows about. She doesn't know about you. She won't suspect a posting man of bringing goblin packages. Believe me, this is your best chance at getting inside." Longtooth was older than Sprout by quite a considerable amount. This was confirmed by his flowing white hair that he bundled up into the flat cap he wore upon his head, sandwiched tightly between his ears so it didn't fall off, and the deep wrinkles around his eyes. For that reason, and probably that reason alone, Sprout believed Longtooth knew more about the goblin sphere. And yet, now that Sprout was in the box, there was a niggle in his brain. It had nothing to do with the fact that he was scrunched up tighter than a ball of string, or that his ears were bent back the wrong way, or that the aluminium foil they'd used to block the signals that had to be coming from his body for the dagger to detect him, the ones that might get through a cardboard box on its own, reflected his goblin green face right back at him in distorted patterns. The niggle said that if something went wrong, Sprout was most definitely trapped.